A challenge world is an alert world, and from challenge comes change. Worldwide, on 8th of March, International Women's Day is celebrated. International Women's Day 2021 campaign theme is Choose to Challenge. Individually, we are all responsible for our own thoughts and actions all day, every day. We can all choose to challenge and call out gender bias and equality. We can all choose to seek out and celebrate women's achievements. Collectively, we can all help create an inclusive world. From challenge comes change, and so let's all choose to challenge. Hello and everyone. I'm Shubhangi Mitra, your host on our special segment and the next powerful episode of the Millennium Diva Show. As you all know, the Millennium Diva Show is a platform to look at stories, inspiration, and journeys of exceptional women entrepreneurs. It is an earnest effort to bring out the best stories, inspiration, and best motivation. In our next and special segment on Millennium Diva Show, on the occasion of International Women's Day, in continuation of the theme today, we have one such accomplished diva who has led her life by an example. Providing her insights on today's topic, challenging the challenges, creating an impact through skilling future generation, a visionary educationist and a leader par excellence, founder, secretary, and chief managing trustee of Sri Chanakya Education Society, chairperson, Indira Group of Institutes, Pune, Tarita Shankar, ma'am. Welcome, Tarita Shankar, ma'am. It's a pleasure to have you on our show, and thank you so much for taking out your time and being here today. How are you doing today?
Very good afternoon, yeah, from India. It's afternoon, so good afternoon to you, Shubhangi, and to all viewers out there. Indeed, I'm doing very well. Absolutely, personally, excellent and good spirits and good health. But mentally and our little heart is heavy today because we have again a lockdown here announced in our city by our government and that lockdown majorly when there's a lockdown there's a first lockdown that is for schools and colleges because everything first shuts down is education because every the students numbers of students are always high and it's very difficult to control students in colleges and also from today our schools and colleges are shut. So as an educationist you can imagine just 1 week back we had got permission to open our colleges and schools and we did that with great show and pomp. I mean, I visited all my campuses. I went and motivated students and spoke to them in the labs and classes, and we welcomed them with a chocolate and everything. And in 1 week's time, we're shutting them again. So you can imagine, I mean, I'm happy, I look happy, I'm smiling, but inside somewhere today, I have a heavy heart. I'm carrying a heart that is heavy, and I'm just praying, that things get back to normal soon. And I really want my students to be on campus because the students are also tired of being at home and being online. I mean, how much can you do online? Education is not all about online. They have to come offline. They have to come to campus because half of education and knowledge happens, on campus, not
Yes.
even in the classroom, outside the classroom. That's what I feel.
IGI is a synonymous with its driving force chairperson, Dr. Tarita Shankar, the dynamic, passionate, and caring leader who has shaped IGI from scratch. Dr. Tarita Shankar holds a degree in arts and law and is an alumni of the prestigious Harvard Business School, USA, having completed the owner president management program in the year 2018. Realizing during the early 1990s that liberalization and privatization of the Indian economy and consequently the education sector would open the door to innumerable opportunities, inspired by the wisdom of Chanakya, the legendary statesman, our iron-willed Prime Minister, late Mrs. Indira Gandhi, and backed by the encouragement and blessings of her parents and well-wishers, Dr. Tarita Shankar sowed the seeds of the parent trust, Sri Chanakya Education Society, Pune. Unwavering vision, meticulous planning, over 2 decades of countless hours of work, unflinching support from her younger brother and a group director, IGI, Professor Chetan Wakalkar, and a very well groomed management team of seasoned academicians has seen the IGI group blossomed to 12 institutions, delivering cutting edge learning to over 12,000 students from KG to PG level. Such a great work. There are many awards and accolades. To name a few, Dr. Tarita Shankar has always believed that her work speaks for itself. She has been a recipient of numerous awards and citations over the last 2 decades on the national and international level. A few prestigious ones being Entrepreneur with a Heart Business Leader of the Year Award at the World Leadership Awards in February 2021, Education Leadership Award, Women in Education Leadership and Excellence in Education by ET Now, Stars of the Industry in December 2018, Women Super Achiever Award of the World HRD Congress 2018, Education Entrepreneurship Award at the World Leadership Congress 2017, amongst top 50 women in education, social education, and entrepreneur award at the World Education Congress 2017, Change Leader and Innovator Award by ET Now, Thought Leaders Award, Education, World HRD Congress 2012, honorary doctorate degree in management conferred by the Chitkara University, Chandigarh in the year 2011, and many more. As Dr. Tarita Shankar says, awards are a recognition of your achievements. However, what matters more is your lasting positive impact on the thoughts of the people that you work with, a sense of fulfillment that your work is improving the quality of others' lives. On a personal front, her belief in successful leaders see the opportunities in every difficulty rather than the difficulty in every opportunity. On the personal front, as I was saying, Dr. Tarita Shankar's meteoric rise from a young family oriented girl to an exemplary leader was paved with several hurdles, personal and professional challenges. She overcame these through pure grit and determination, ability to adapt to changes, and an unpending quest for excellence. An avid reader, an excellent orator, renowned for her free, frank, and fearless expression of her views. She loves to travel, having visited all major countries over the world. Philanthropy and concern to less fortunate occupies her leisure time. Above all, she is a doting mother, an affectionate family woman, and a fun loving, down to earth personality. Please welcome our guest of honor, the education diva, Honorable Dr. Tarita Shankarans. So, ma'am, thank you so much once again, and I'll begin our interview. So, my very first question to you is, IGI is known for its high quality standards when it comes to education and is considered as a benchmark. Can you share more on this journey to achieving this excellence?
Firstly, the journey started 27 years back. We have entered into our 27th year, and just in 2019, we celebrated our 25th year, and that was a great feeling. And after 25, now we are aiming to head towards celebrating our 50 years, of course. I mean, so the journey, such kind of journeys, I mean, I think the first important thing we all have to look at it is sustainability.
Yeah.
Only long journeys when they sustain over years. You see a lot of companies, industries, institutions, open up and shut down, but the ones that sustain, the ones that live long, that the ones that are there forever, you can say for years and years, they have two, three things in common. One is the strong belief, that is the first is the strong belief that whatever you're doing, is not for you, but you're doing it for humanity in general. And this is not just because I'm an educationist, but if you see some of the top brands in the world, they all stand, I mean, they may today use the best of the technologies. We are all are doing it. But eventually the aim is, to sustain humanity, to direct humanity in a better direction, and to leave a better world behind us when we go. So I think from day one, I have always believed, in being a humanitarian. I love people. I love doing things for people. I love always being around there for people. So that one quality has helped Indira a lot from the day one, to be to say that, we are a people's organization. Second, of course, I mean, if you want to sustain, then you have to be excellent in whatever you do. I mean, you
Yeah.
have to achieve excellence.
Yeah.
Nobody can achieve perfection. I do not believe in perfection because there's nothing like perfection. I think if only God can be perfect. None of us are perfect. We are all humans, and so we are not perfect. But we surely can aim to be excellent. So
Yeah.
whatever we do, we can do it nicely.
Mhm.
And that is what I believed in. And thirdly, very again important, I have never wasted my energies or the energies of my colleagues and my team on competition. I
Mhm.
don't believe in wasteful competition,
Yeah.
because if you're competing with something, then you're focusing on how you can be better than somebody or how you can show somebody down.
Yeah.
Rather, you focus on yourself and how you or your organization can become better versions of ourselves,
Yes.
day by day, how we can improve in ourselves. I think that is the best competition with yourself. So I feel these are the few things, that we kept in mind. And of course, adapting. Adaptability is like, since we are talking about skills, I think one of the most important skills is today, not only today, everybody talks about adaptability because it's got a name now, but I
Mm.
think for all of us over years and generations, adaptability has played a very, very important role.
Mm.
So to adapt to your surroundings, to adapt to your situations, I think that is the most important thing. Today, when we move, when I started 27 years back, we started with something in mind. Today, after 27 years back, of course, the first thought that we started with rains, but so many other thought processes have added into it because the world has changed in 27 years. And if we wouldn't have adapted, especially education, because education is all about knowledge.
Mhm.
In the last few years, education shifted from just classroom education to acquisition of knowledge.
Yeah.
And then it shifted from acquisition of that knowledge to management of that knowledge.
Yes.
Now, how does one do that? Because the knowledge also comes to you. I feel knowledge comes to you from your surroundings. It comes to you from what is around you. So giving exposure to your students outside your classroom, it's very important. And
Yeah.
then getting them to adapt to those situations, to
Mhm.
what they need to lead a better life. And for us to see that if today, I mean, a very simple example is technology. I mean, that today everything,
Yes.
the last few years, technology became so important for our life. And you see the last 11 months when when COVID came in,
Yeah.
technology became supreme. I mean, the whole world could stay connected. Everything happened, and nothing stopped is only because technology. So
Yeah.
that adaptation to technology, yet
Mm.
at Indira, I have always believed, and I've always said that if technology is it's an enabler today, no, I mean it is an enabler, but humanity is a bigger enabler because
Yes.
it is humans. I mean, after all, today it's humans who have brought in technology. It's
Yeah.
humans who who take who have taken the responsibility of technology. And if someday, I always say, if someday we let technology go out of our hands, it's going to be a disaster for humanity. It's going to be a disaster for the human race. So we all must see, that though we use technology, use it to the extent where we do not lose touch with our roots, with our humanity, with our being ourselves, and with
Mm.
what we are. Like today, if you sit and you shake your head, and that shows me, that yes, you are listening to what I'm saying. I'm moving my hands. I'm expressing myself. One should not lose that expression, that form
Yeah.
of expression, to technology. I think so. That balance to achieve and adapt, I think it's very important. And I think as humans, we have done well, and we will always do well.
Oh, that's very interesting, ma'am, and it's a very in depth actually. Moving forward to our second question, we are given to understand that you and your younger brother, Mr. Chetan Wakalkar, are the brains and powerhouse that drives IGI towards growth and progress. What's the secret to this awesome combo?
The first secret to this awesome combo, I think, should be my parents. They brought us in this world with their combination.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, that is of course the genetic part of it, but somehow, I mean, as brother and sister, you have very few brother and sister combinations, in business or in the world of education or wherever. I mean, any organizational. Like, I mean, there's husband and wife, there's mother and daughter, or father and daughter or son. I mean, generations, but together of one generation, it's pretty rare, like, and we are just, both of us are just 5 years apart. So it's not that there's a big gap also, but I always feel like a mother to him, I mean,
Yeah.
that way. But there are times when he behaves like a father to me. So I think this combination, from day one, Chetan was always very technologically and academically inclined. Chetan is an engineer. He is an ENTC engineer with MBA, and
Mhm.
I am a double graduate, political science, and my this bachelor's of arts. That time it was arts, not humanities. And I, like you, I have done my bachelor's in law too from
Oh,
St. Mary's.
oh,
So
wow.
of course I never practiced. I never took my sanat. I didn't get into any the practice, but I've done these two. So it was from day one. I mean, somehow the things just fell into place that he was the academic, I mean, the academic brain for
Mm.
IGI, and I'm the people's and the administrative, the financial, whatever other.
Yes.
So for an education, of course, academics is very, very important. Yes, like I said in my last, when you asked a question, like going with the change in the world. So
Mhm.
getting that change academically into your group to keep your group alive and always, in the top few. That is how you adapt to what is around you, and you give it back to the students through education. So
Yes.
that was always that somehow became Chetan's job. That is today his job also.
Mhm.
And people, managing the people, administration, getting the finances, because we are not backed by any big group or any politician. We are like just a brother and sister in a family, trust and a family group. So finances have always been, a problem, or rather, stretched at all times, because we've also grown a lot.
Yes.
We started with like 60 students, in two classrooms. And, today we have gone to 15,000 students with, I think, maybe about 5-6 lakhs square feet of FSI under our, AGs, and about 50 acres of land,
Mhm.
1,000 employees. So all this requires a lot of money, So keeping the finances going at all moments, that has been entirely my, it's been on my shoulders, my responsibility. And of course, PR is a very important area for any organization. So whether it's education or whether it's business or whatever it is, PR is very important. And like I told you before, I'm a complete people's person. I love, interacting with people. I mean, for my work, I'm not a person who likes to frivolously just waste my time with people. But when it comes to people skills, yes, from day one, I have always handled every the person that has come across Indira and needed to be handled. I have done that. So those are the skills, and our skills have never, been. They've never overlapped. Chetan's and mine. So when you talk about a combo, it's a combo of skills that have worked, and from day one, I mean, I think, and I always touch wood. Both of us touch wood for that. We've
Mhm.
always had this respect for each other as brother and sister. I mean, that is which is beyond the work, and that respect like came into work also. I have always respected his views. He's
Mhm.
always respected my views, and we've had healthy discussions. We've had healthy, like, I mean, debates, and from which we've always come out, with things that when I have to say, yes, you're right. I've never ever said that, okay, I am the older one and I am the boss, so I should say. No, in fact, I take great pride and pleasure in saying that you are right, because that's how you build a team. And
Yeah.
that just goes with Chetan. That also goes with my other team who's with me. I love to prove my team right, because
Mhm.
that just shows me that I have collected a good team around me.
Mhm.
So that's how Chetan and me have stayed, and I'm sure that's how we will stay. And a lot of, I think we in this whole thing, my mother also has a lot of. I mean, I would give a lot of, what do you call that?
Credit. Credit and the
Yes,
blessing.
credit is the right word. Mara
Mhm.
Marathi शब्द आठवत होता श्रेय, पण the credit is the word. I would give a lot of credit to her too.
Mhm.
And what helped also is that we're a very small family. It's just Chetan and me. We had an older sister who passed away a few years back due to cancer. So
Okay.
we remained as a very small family. And so it's mom, me, and Chetan. And so she's always believed in keeping the family together. And after that, I have taken that mantle, as a woman, of course, of keeping the family together. So Chetan and me, have, I mean, unknowingly that combination has fallen into place. And
Yes.
then knowingly we have worked a lot on it, because we don't want to lose each other ever. And the power, money, these are the things that can go to people's head very easily. And we both have decided that we will never let that go to our heads.
Yeah.
I mean, let us have all the power and let us have all the money, and together we will use it for betterment of society, for betterment of humanity, for betterment of the human race.
Wow, awesome twosome, wonderful. It's very
Thank
important, ma'am.
you.
The point you have mentioned is the family above all is very important, and glad to
Yeah.
see that both of you, with your hard work, have taken IGI on a absolutely next level. Ma'am, yours is an inspirational journey full of ups and downs, and you have dared to tread on challenging paths. What inspired you in the journey? I mean, how did you overcome these challenges?
Oh, there are two things. I mean, one is, of course, like you're dividing your question into two is, one is overcoming challenges,
Yeah.
and second is finding inspiration, on a daily basis.
Yes.
You see, there was a time, Shubhangi, if I look back in my own life, 30 years back, if I look back in flashback, I see a completely different person and a completely different life. I never imagined or expected my life to come to where I am today. Mine
Mm-hmm.
has been like a completely zero to hero kind of a journey. Very
Okay.
much so, like,
Mm.
like very young age, I had no other dream but to get married, and to settle down and have a lovely husband and a diehard romantic. Even today, I was a diehard romantic even then, and so to have a good husband, to have a whole big, lot of in-laws and have a lot of kids, and that was my dream.
Mm.
I started my life with that kind of a dream when I was in school and college and everything. Though of course my parents did have other dreams for me, and my father my mother always wanted us to be highly educated. And after seeing that, the children, like, we were pretty intelligent from when young age. We always stood in the class, the first two, first three, first five, like that kind of thing. And so I was very good in my studies also from beginning. So my dad had big dreams for me. He always wanted me to become an IS or IFS officer or something. So I did try my hand at that also at that time, and I did give my exams. I did get selected for the MPSC, that is the Maharashtra Public Service Commission, and everything. But I just wanted my dad wanted me to do only IS or IFS, so I didn't get selected for that. So I had to give up that.
Mm.
And since then, I mean, and I did have some bad moments in my life. My early age. I mean, today I won't even call it bad moments. At my age, I have learned that everything is an experience. There's nothing good or bad.
Mm.
It's just an experience in your life. So my life changed a bit when I was 20. And I had ran away from my home, with a man, and it turned out very bad. And I came back, and then, I decided, I have to take life very seriously, because at that time, 30 years back, a girl running away from home and coming back, everything, it was considered very bad. It was like a stigma on me and my family. And I decided, no, and I was in college. I hadn't even finished my college. So, well, that episode changed my life a lot. And after that, uh, I saw the way my parents supported me during that time, the way my family supported me, the way my own brother, stood by me. And there are so many people you come across, people, who are bad. But I realized at that time that there are so many good people who came and stood by you. And
Mm.
it is that from that time, from my years when I was 20 years old, I started believing in people. I
Okay.
knew that if things go wrong, normally people don't believe in people. I have exactly opposite
Mm.
experiences of life. I met a lot of good people in my life, and I thank God for this journey. That my journey, inspiration has come to me for every obstacle, for every challenge from people itself.
Yeah.
People have stood by me. People have held my hand. People have, patted my back. People have wiped my tears, and people have not let me cry in, in my loneliness or something. So I have a very different opinion of people. Normally you have other opinion of people. People look down upon you. People do this. Of course, those kind were there, but I met a
Yeah.
lot of good people in my life. So for
Mhm.
me, from day one, challenges have always come, but there've always been people. And looking at people, having people around me has been my inspiration.
Mhm.
Because being a people's person, somewhere inside me, I always knew, that I love people, and people in turn love me.
Mm.
And if people love me, I have to reciprocate their love. If I have to
Yeah.
reciprocate their love, I have to live. I mean, there came a moment, in my young age at those times, life was very tough. like today when I do my care club and all, and I advise people against suicide, and I always tell people tomorrow is a beautiful day and you live for tomorrow. But that is from experience. There was a time for me in my 20s, I didn't have a beautiful day to look forward to tomorrow, and I did try to commit suicide.
Oh,
Okay, so I've also done that. So that is a process of life which all of us go through, Shubhati. It's not that we don't go through. So
mm,
I can't say that I have been like this, but somewhere deep inside me, I think that fighting spirit was there. It was
mm,
not that it was not there. And I saw a lot of that fighting spirit come from my parents, because they had a love marriage like 50 years back, which was a completely outcast love marriage, and they were like outcast completely. So
mhm,
their desire to live, and the way they fought for life, and they fought for us, and they stood by us every moment. There came a moment, when I said, I can't let my parents down. I just cannot, because if they've done all this for us today, none of us can, let them down.
yeah.
So we have to live, and we have to live for them, you see. And then it became people's journey, and somewhere over so many years, luckily, fortunately, all my jobs, even before I started Indira, I had two jobs. One was in a private company in Pune, and where they posted me in a city like Bangkok. So at a very early age, I started working abroad, and I had fantastic exposure to the outside world. And then
Mm,
I was in a company like Enron when Enron came to India. So I had some, it's been, I always say, that luck has also favored me a lot. It threw me in the right situations. It threw me in the right challenges, the challenges which would bring out the best out of me. When I
mm,
was in Bangkok, when I was working there, then because of that company, I worked in Dubai, in Bangkok, and then Enron, of course, coming in into India, an American company, and the challenges that they threw at me to work for them. I mean, they were fantastic, So my life completely changed. And
mm,
after that, I realized, and those jobs, both the jobs were all people oriented.
okay.
Even in the company that I was working with, it was job was director public relations,
Oh,
and in Enron also my job was director community relations,
oh,
because
wow.
I was handling the people of the four displaced villages where the Dabul Power Company was going to come. So I was directly in touch with the villagers on one hand, and then I was directly in touch with people like Joe Sutton, who was the managing director of Enron India. I
Yes.
also had, the opportunity, of reporting to Rebecca Mark once. So,
Okay.
it was people, like everything was people. So I became so good in people skills, that for me, everything was people. I learned to love people. And I knew that, if I am going to love people, like again, I said, I'm repeating, people are going to love me back. And I experienced that on a daily basis today, that, I don't lack the love of people. I may lack the love of a single man in my life, but I don't lack the love of so many people around me. And that has really been my inspiration today. People, the love of people, living for people. And I think once you get that, nothing can, pull you down, because you realize there are so many people around you who need you. There are so many people, whose your sorrow is nothing. I mean, you don't have a sorrow compared to what people have. And once you realize that,
Yes.
you realize that, well, life and people around you itself is an inspiration. Life is so beautiful if you give to people,
Yes.
you know.
Wow. I just got lost in it was moving and flashing right in front of me like a movie, ma'am. It's a very inspirational journey, and this was not known to me that you did work with Enron, and from there in totally different field in education line, and then you
In
know
fact, I sorry to interrupt you,
yeah.
but in Ron and Indira, the
Yeah.
last 6 months, I was handling doing both. I was
Okay.
doing Enron my job, and I was doing Indira also. And finally, Indira just picked up in 6 months. I had to resign my job from Enron.
Oh wow. So
It was a
did you
beautiful.
yeah, did you regret resigning the corporate job? I mean,
Oh
you
no,
had.
not at all. Oh no, not at all. I didn't regret at all. That's what I'm saying. When I look back and the journey that I have moved in those last 20, 27 years, I don't regret any moment of taking any decision. I mean, Obviously, if
Well,
I wouldn't have resigned from there, I wouldn't be, Indira would be standing today.
of course. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, generally people go for the safe bet, which is corporate job, and at such early age, you were associated with such an prestigious international platform, and you had everything. Because starting on the venture is a lot of obstacles, and whether it will be successful. So, congratulations, ma'am. Wonderful, very inspiring.
Thank you.
Now, since
Thank
you have
you.
mentioned on this lockdown, which has been imposed from today, but it has been going on for last 1 year now. So what are the challenges that educational institutes faced, and especially IGI, and how did you overcome on those during the pandemic? Because it's like almost a year, right? So what were the challenges, and how did you implement any backup plans or your strategies?
It's a great question, and I love to talk about this because the whole world is, changed in the last 11 months, and everybody had to find solution to something. All
Yes.
of us, we had to find solution to something. All of us had to adapt to so many new situations, and it all happened suddenly. It was not a slow process. So I still remember, and I will take you back to that day. My son last year he gave the boards 10th standard. Shan, my
Yes.
younger one.
Yes.
So I am a person, like I am very spiritual minded, and I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual, and
Mm,
I believe, in the power of sacrifice a lot.
mm,
So from I mean, that's one side to me. From childhood, I've been doing that. I fast, I love fasting, and I love giving up food. I love giving up this, that, and everything. And I believe, that if you want to get something, you have to give something. You have to give up something.
yes.
So my son was in the 10th last year, and his first pre-boards,
Oh,
he did pretty bad in
mm,
his first pre-board. So I was a little shaken up. So when my older son had done his 10th and 12th, I had given up non-veg for the whole year.
okay.
No non-vegetarian. I had become a complete vegetarian. So my
Interesting.
younger son said that, but my younger son was Shahid is a very different child, and Shan is a very different child. They're two different children, they're completely different personas. So for Shan, I had said that, okay, I'm going to give up complete alcohol. I'm
Oh,
not going to touch any alcohol throughout the year. So I
mm,
did that. So when he got less marks, the cheek of the boy, he's telling me that, Mom, probably giving up this alcohol is not enough. You had given up non-vegetarian also for Sahil. Probably you need to give that up also for me. I said, okay. So 3 months before his exams, that is pre-boards one, I give up non-veg also. Okay. And okay, this is just so I believe in that. And my sons adapt to that easily that mom loves sacrificing. So if something is not happening or I want something to happen, I just give up something. Okay. I'm not going to wear makeup for a day. I'm not
okay.
going to wear sari for a day. I'm not going to, cover my hair for 2 days.
Okay.
That kind of a thing.
Uh-huh.
So his exams got over on 18th of March. And so the exams got over. And of course, the last few days, there was this talk, of so
Yes.
the last two papers and all, he went in mask and everything. And even I used to go on mask to leave him. And I mean, that time, it was not that everybody was wearing a mask. Nobody was taking it seriously. But me and my son, Shan, he studied the entire Corona from the day it started.
Wow.
So he was very particular that even in the month of February, when I traveled to Dubai for work, he insisted that I can go only if I'm going to wear a mask all on airport going and coming back. This was in
Mhm.
February when there was no corona, nothing. It was only internationally, but he
Yes.
made me do it. So
Yes.
he was very much into that whole thing. And then 18th of March, okay, let's come back to this. 18th of March, his exams get over, last paper. And since I have given up non-veg and alcohol, we family decide to have a party at my farmhouse.
Mm.
So every member in the family decides to cook. Shan says he's going to cook something non-vegetarian. Chetan says he's going to cook something. My sister-in-law says she's going to cook something. And it's a non-vegetarian feast. So as soon as the exams are over, everybody moves to the farmhouse and everybody is cooking and everything. And
Mm.
at night, my brother's daughter, older one, she was doing her 12th boards.
Mm.
So her one paper was remaining. So the same night on 18th March, the news was declared that all further exams, board exams cancelled. Okay,
Oh.
and it was done. And the next 2 days, my mother decided to stay with me. And on 20th
Mm.
of March, on the lockdown was announced. 2 days. So we were stuck in our farmhouse. We were there. We couldn't move from there.
Oh.
So our entire first lockdown, we were in the farmhouse. We were then, luckily, my brother and his family had moved on 19th back to Pune, but we
Mm,
were stuck over there.
mm,
And then came important thing because exams and for us, all the colleges were like, I mean, it's exam time. You see, but and for CBSE, we have a CBSE school. So CBSE exams were over, but school had to start from 1st of April, the next year.
yeah.
Luckily, Indira being so much into technology, bringing and keeping abreast of technology at Indira, and me never saying no to him. I've always said, yes, this is good. If he says it's good, it's good.
Yes.
So at Indira, this was 20th of March that lockdown was announced. And from
Mhm.
6th of April, so instead of 1st of April, it was 6th of April, we started off the entire Indira National School CBSE online.
Oh, wonderful.
Of course, we started with classes. We went backwards, like we started with 10th, 9th, and 8th and 7th first, 10th to 7th. Then
Mm,
from 6th. So from 6th of April till 30th of April, 30th of April, entire
mm,
Indira National School and whatever remaining, lectures or classes, or you can say syllabus of
mm,
every college,
mm.
everything went online.
Oh, wow.
So in 20 days, the entire Indira went online. And I'm very proud that we have a great technology team at Indira. It is headed by one Mr. Santosh Kumar.
Yes.
And he also happens to be our student 20 years back, who
Oh,
joined Indira 20 years back. And after that, and today he's the head of technology at Indira. So with him and the entire technology team, IT team at Indira, less than a
mm.
month, whole of Indira, full, everything was online.
Oh,
Everything. We
wonderful.
had got classrooms converted. We got permission from the police for people to come and work and set up everything in our classrooms. We got permissions in the first lockdown itself from police for some of the teachers to come to campus and to give the lectures. Everything. We worked hard and everything fell into place. People have been very supportive. Police were supportive. So we got passes. We got people to come in. The teachers who did not have the proper setups in their home, we had an entire IT teams, moving to their houses and setting up the laptops and the Wi-Fi's and everything. And police were
Mm.
very supportive with this. And we
Okay.
never looked back after that. So we just went to the next level, completely. And in the month of June, I think May or June, I don't exactly remember the date. I
Mm,
had this idea, and I said that we must do a course now, in training teachers, for virtual training, for
mm.
virtual. So we launched a program by the name of Virtual Vidya. I
Oh,
coined this word Virtual Vidya, in fact, and then we trademarked and registered it. And then we did a 15 days Virtual Vidya training program for teachers all across India. In fact, we had teachers from France and England and Australia and Canada also joining. So that
wonderful.
was something, and our entire Indira teachers were all trained in this program in Virtual Vidya, and everybody got a certificate. So we just went to the next level, and now, I mean, everything. We are so technologically advanced at IGI today that the whole year just whizzed past, And so today, when lockdown is announced, even last week when we opened offline,
Mm,
of course, it was, like it was a hybrid, blended kind of a teaching that we opened it to last week. So it
yes.
was offline and online. But the way we did it, it was that when the teacher is teaching in the class, the same lecture is being, like completely sent online at the
Oh,
same time. So it's not recorded and then sent to the students or something. The students are attending the offline lecture online. So
okay.
every classroom was adapted like that. So today, when lockdown has been announced again for schools and colleges,
Mhm.
we have nothing to lose. Not even one lecture has stopped. Everything is continuing. Yesterday it was announced, but yesterday evening I had a report from every director and principal that all the students have been notified, all the lectures are on, and not even anything is going to stop. Nobody
Mhm.
is coming to campus, and everything is online. So that is the power of people and technology together. I won't say just technology. Technology is there, but if humans, if we cannot get that and adapt it to our
Yes.
situation, what's the
Yes.
use of that technology? So
Yeah.
having the right kind of team, the right kind of skill sets in
Mm,
our own team and humans is so important to adapt that technology at the right moment. So today we have not lost anything. Everything is on. Nobody
mm.
has lost a single day or a single lecture, or even, in fact, they've been able to gather more knowledge because sitting at home, the teachers, the professors, everybody could give them more work to do. give
Yes.
them more reference work to do to get more knowledge on every subject that they're studying, So lockdown, no lockdown, I mean, things have been good for education. We haven't stopped anywhere. And lockdowns are not going to stop us, from imparting knowledge and education to our students. It's a commitment. So we live by that.
Well, ma'am, a huge round of applause to you and to your team. I mean, it's really surprising that for the first time, world witnessed this corona pandemic. People were not known the duration, how long it will go on, and it's wonderful. I think yours is one of its own kind, which has implemented the solution
Very
on
fast. Yes,
dot probably
absolutely.
15-20 days, and very impressive. So
Yeah, yeah.
brilliant. And I'm sure that a lot of universities or educational institutes can actually adapt this
Oh, yeah,
specific
yeah.
model that you have. Especially I really like the teacher being in the classroom and students at home offline doing.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's
congratulations.
what you introduced last week. Thank
Yes.
you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So moving on to our next question. There is a lot of noise, ma'am, on women empowerment, but we see hardly any concrete actions happening. What do you think is the reason, and what do you feel that needs to be done?
Actually, frankly, I mean, when you say that there's a lot of noise about women empowerment, but there's no concrete action,
Yes.
I think uh, women, firstly, women, we are already empowered. You
Yes.
see, I mean, woman is the powerful, she is the be all of existence on earth, you know, and the entire power is within her. It's all there inside her.
Yes.
It's only about unleashing that power.
Mm,
How you unleash that power, that is
mm,
more important, and that is what must be given more attention to, or more focus upon, that how women can unleash that power. She's
mm,
already empowered, it's already there, it's just that she doesn't want to unleash that power.
yes.
And sometimes I feel that there are too many things that are responsible for this.
Mm,
Many things, from the beginning, woman has been taught for ages, that on one hand she's also been said that she's mata, she's like
yes.
devi, and she's got so many hands and she does everything. On the other hand, she's also been curbed a lot. She's been put under pressure a lot, that okay, you are born to just run the family, you are born to produce kids, and you just say, I was like that.
Mm,
All I wanted was that I wanted a family, I wanted to
mm,
produce kids, I wanted to please a husband and in-laws. That's all I wanted.
mm,
And look at me today. I mean, I'm a completely different person. That doesn't mean today. Let us also first understand what woman empowerment is.
mm,
Empowerment doesn't mean, that I become like a woman, like I believe in the women's liberation movement, I don't believe in that kind of liberation.
mm,
I mean, your mind has to be liberated.
yes.
If your mind is liberated, everything is fine. I mean, today I'm financially independent. Just because I'm financially independent doesn't mean that I show men around me that I'm financially independent, so okay, I'm so and so. No way. I believe in that if I'm financially independent, men around me also, I love the men to be financially independent too. So
Mm,
what does that, and just because I am that way doesn't mean, that okay, I mean, I want to show any man around me that he's no less. I
yes.
believe in that kind of equality where we are equal in every way. Yet, but a man cannot give birth. You see, that is something only I can do. So let me be proud of that thing, and not say that, okay, so I am liberated and I'm empowered, so I don't want to become a mother.
Mm,
In fact, I feel the highest epitome of woman empowerment is to become a mother, is
yes.
to give birth to a child. I mean, I think it is so important. So, what is women empowerment? What needs to be done for that?
Mhm,
Is is understanding that I think financial independence is very important for women, but how she uses that financial independence is also important.
mm,
It's not that she becomes financially independent, so everything else has to fall apart. No, there's certain things that in society are there. If you believe in marriage, someone like me believes in marriage and the institution of marriage. So if I believe in the institution of marriage, if I'm financially independent, doesn't mean that okay, I become the boss, or just
yes.
because he's financially independent, he's the boss. No, we are equal. We share. You see, sharing is caring.
Mhm.
and that empowerment has to have sharing. If you
Yes.
share well and if you understand the true meaning of women empowerment, even
Mm.
the men will look at it in the right way. Even the men will support it in the right way.
Yes.
And today things are changing around. They are. It's not that they're not changing. I
Mm.
see my now in my own family, my dad was very much inclined, like my mother had all the power in the house, everything. She stood shoulder to shoulder with my dad and she took care of us. She looked after, she worked with him. Whatever they did together, they had absolutely no qualms about standing next to each other and working together and bringing up the family and standing for the family and giving a good life to us. My
Yes.
brother is doing the same, not only with me, but with his wife, and I see so many men around me. And the very fact that I'm sitting here today, the very fact that you are sitting there today and taking my interview or doing, it shows that, we do have men, who are liberated today from, those thoughts, that yes,
Yes.
that women and men are equal. So I
Yes.
think more than giving women, more than enlightening women, I think we need to enlighten the men too. So if you
Yes.
enlighten men, so when you have Women's Day programs, I always believe that if there's a Women's Day gathering, if you're going to invite women, please invite the men
Of course.
because their thoughts need to change. If their thoughts change, our women is already empowered from inside.
Yes.
She only needs, that opening, and unfortunately, those openings in many households are in the hands of men.
Mm.
So if we can enlighten the men, and if we can do noise when you talk to this not is being done, it should be done with men. I feel we need to enlighten men first.
Of
We need to empower men first so that they empower the women.
yes.
So I think that's how one needs to go. And very simple thing, when we go in some of my colleges, there's a college program, there's a college function. And our colleges, of course, today they are all unisex colleges, I mean, they're all co-ed colleges. So many
Yes.
times I used to go initially. Now when I go for functions, when I used to go before, girls are on one side and boys are on one side. And I used to spend my first 5 minutes in telling them, please see that one boy and one girl. And I used to wait calmly till that is exchanged and there is one boy, one girl standing, one boy, one girl sitting. And then I used to begin my whatever program it is.
Mm.
I said, if we ourselves, do not believe in, and if you're going to segregate the men and women at a young age, we're doing that in a co-ed college.
Yes.
What's the big deal? And for what? When they
Mm.
go outside, they're all together. They're sitting at a cafe together. Then in
Yes.
school, why are we doing all this?
Mm.
So now in all my colleges and everywhere, now it's there. They know it that if she's coming for a function, if she's coming to do something, we have to see that the girls and boys are together. We are not segregated.
Yes.
So this is a very simple thought process, but a very important one.
Yes.
Now I'm raising two sons at home, So when I raise two sons at home, I mean, I discuss everything under the sky with them. Nothing is taboo.
Mhm.
From menstruation cycles to sex to everything is discussed with the boys by me. Because I don't want them to feel, that, okay, she's mom, she's a woman, so can she discuss this with me or can she not? Yes, she can, she will, and she has. And that is the kind of relationship I want them to have with the women who come in their life.
Yes.
So
So
it all begins with you, and it all begins with you enlightening and empowering the men. I feel that.
it's very, very, very enlightening thought, ma'am. I mean, yes, there is a noise, but nobody has actually seen the root cause of the problem and then why. I mean, I find it very wonderful that every second person in the world is a woman, and still we are. I find it very. I'm proud sometimes, but I also have this hitchback that we are in 21st century and we celebrate. Oh, first. Vice president, not even a president of some particular country, or she is the first one. Why it is still a first? I mean, it has to be like a accomplished one. But very wonderful thought that when you are celebrating women empowerment, take the men and enlighten them as well. But going back to the need of this hour, I mean, I completely understand the thought process from the roots. Things needs to change. But women who are half the way now, but are lost in a lot of aspects of being an entrepreneur. What do you think the need of this hour is to encourage more women to come in entrepreneurship and extend the support? Like technically speaking, some of them, they may be in 30s or 40s, they might not have this management degree. Some of them have skills, but they don't know where to go to the market and how to start up. So in such kind of complicated complex areas, what do you reckon, the need of the hour to encourage more women entrepreneurship, and how we can extend the support. I mean, any organization.
I think there are so many organizations like you and me. I mean, now today we are sitting across over here and talking. There will be so many, people who are going to listen to us, obviously. So these kinds of things must happen. There must be more talk by women. There must be more talk between women, and like you rightly said that, yes, on one hand, I want to start, from the root, but the people or the women who are halfway, how does one tackle them or anything? For them, of course, such platforms are going to help. That's why I like people like me. I'm always there available to women at any given time of the night or day. If they have any problem, they can come to me, and for anything, not just for domestic problems, but for their own, for business, for anything. I mean, every time you cannot help everybody financially, because a lot of people come to me, and women, they come to me and they want, to me to help them financially, which is not possible at all times. But there are so many things beyond that. Like when I created Indira, I had nothing, and I don't know how kya kya jugaad kiye. But some jugaad kar karke, I just grew, and that's how it happens. You see, I mean, so we women also have to learn to, do those jugaad. Yes, beta. Yeah, yeah. So those we women also have to learn to do jugaad. Jugaad is not just a man's prerogative. हम भी जुगाड़ करते हैं, अगर हमें, you want to become an entrepreneur and you want to do something on your own and you want to stand up on your own and you want to make a niche for yourself or a place for yourself, you will have to start, doing things on your own. You will have to start building the resources on your own. Then sometimes women say, oh, I wish this man helps me. The men around me, they don't know. It's not like that. You have to do it yourself. You see, I mean, you will have to believe that you are the one. The strength is from you inside. So bring that strength out, and whoever can help you, whether a woman can help you, whether a man can help you, whether an organization can help you, don't, don't feel, just don't have that feeling that how can I go out and how can I ask and how can I go to this person to help? Just go and ask for help from anyone.
Yes.
Don't think anything. I'm just go, I mean, I will just go, doors will open, some will close, it's okay, doesn't matter. But
Yes.
kabhi hichkichana mat. Don't
Yes.
stand back, just because you are a woman. Do
Yes.
men think like that? No. So learn to think like that. If you want to do something like, I mean, I don't call it a man's world, but there are people who call that it's a man's world. People do say that. But then
Yes.
there are women, like you said, women, all of us have made a niche for ourselves in a man's world. So how
Yes.
can I call it a man's world? I feel that in mine today, in my organization, if men come, probably they will say we are in a woman's world.
Yeah.
I have
Yes.
so many women who are doing so well. Yeah. I mean, that's how it is. So it's your perception. And this perception today at this age, women need to change. That if I want to achieve something, if I want, then I have to just become like anybody else. I
Mm.
must just go. I must, knock on people's doors and I must sit outside and I say, I want this done. I want this file signed. I want this thing to be done. I want this loan sanctioned. I want
Yes.
it done. How dare you not do it for me?
Yes.
So there you have to start becoming strong. And women are in these things, I feel women are more stronger. But women tend to just, be behind because I don't know why, I mean, is it because, of the physical attributes that we have that women are always looked upon, okay, oh, she's beautiful, she's not beautiful, she's like that. Men don't have those kind of things.
No. No.
So women should come out of those things.
Of
They have
course.
to break out of those shackles.
Of course.
That I am like any other person. I am a human being. And if I want to stand somewhere, if I want to achieve something, I have to go and I have to just, like be on my own. I mean, get help from wherever. I don't mean be on your men. Go take help. For me, I go to it. If I have something, I have to get some permission from Indira. I will go and knock on anybody's door. I will go and sit in Delhi for 10 days. I'll go and sit in Mumbai for 20 days. I will go and, like write 10 letters. I will follow up with some person, like a reminder a day. You have to just forget who you are, a woman or
Mm.
man. And you have to
Mm.
just focus, on your, what you believe in,
Yes.
on your aim, your goal, and just go and do it. I mean, women have to break the shackles. That is important. They have to,
Yeah.
very, very important at this moment. And then again, there are so many organizations there. If you go the technical side, there are many organizations to help. Go and take help from them, and that things will improve. Things are improving. So today, like you, I mean, you said that, oh, the first vice president of Earth. We don't talk that anymore so much. Like
Yes.
if you see in our army or our navy, I mean,
Yes.
yeah, if somebody's done a fate, a different kind of fate, then it's different. But otherwise, I mean, things are moving. And
Yes.
I'm not. I'm very positive about the progress. I'm very positive about what's happening, up with women in
Mm.
the world today, and I'm happy with that. I mean, in India too, and all across the globe too, it's there. I mean, women and men are working
Together.
kandhe se kandha lagakar, shoulder to shoulder, and with each other. Things are improving, and we are responsible for that. So
Yes.
let's take up more responsibility. At every nook and corner we see, we find an opportunity to take up responsibility. Let us take it up.
Of course. I mean, that's very, very interesting fact, ma'am. See, more and more women are becoming alert about the surroundings and becoming financially independent, irrelevant of, education or what background they come from. Thanks to organizations like yourself and Millennium Divas who actually have started going to the places, to the women where these platforms are provided, the expos are there to showcase their talents, and more or less the government is also really pushing women through Atmanirbhar Nari and Atmanirbhar Bharat. So it is all
Yeah, yeah,
there
yeah,
in
yeah.
Delhi that you
Yes,
need to take
yes,
help to help yourself. So yeah, interesting, ma'am. Um,
yeah.
another issue that we always see, I have been associated with a lot of charity foundations who are actively working on a girl child education, and there are some international collaborations as well. I have been working. What I have found very common factor is it's just not the India. There are many countries in the world who suffer from this problem of girl child education. But if we narrow it down to only India, what do you think? Because see, you have been also encouraging and promoting girl child education, and according to you, what do you think are the obstacles or the barriers to access this quality education for girls in India, and how can we overcome on these challenges? I mean, at least we ensure that every girl goes to school irrespective of what background or circumstances they come from. I mean, basic education. What do you think, ma'am? What are your views on that one?
Um, See, this problem is there. It's a pertinent problem for many years, and again, like I said, I would say that it is getting lesser day
Mm.
by day. Government has taken a lot of initiative. Firstly, it has taken an initiative. This is not just for girl child. They
Yeah.
have this. We have this right to education now. So right to education is giving education to everybody. So initially, the people who under the below the poverty line or somebody, they used to think, that okay, let the if if there's a choice, मैं अपने लड़की को पढ़ाऊंगा, लड़की को तो शादी करके घर में भेज देना, मैं अपने लड़के को पढ़ाऊंगा. They used to think like that because there was paucity of funds. They didn't have money. They didn't have enough money to educate them. Now, with this right to education thing opening up and free education till 10th standard for every child, I think this has changed because I see in my own school, in under right to education, I see so many girls coming. I
Mhm.
see so many parents bringing boys and girls equally. So that is one very, good, I would say, kudos to the government,
Mhm.
when they brought in the Right to Education Act into India, and that has been implemented very strictly by
Yes.
everybody. In
Yes.
my school also, I mean, there are many schools, who used to say that, oh, we don't want, I mean, we don't get money from government, and so we will try to keep as much as less, and, try not to give admissions, and try to reject the students on different grounds and everything. And we at Indira National School, we took a completely different stand from the first day. We decided we will give admission to as many as students who come,
Okay.
all of them, because
Mhm.
we want maximum of them to take benefit of this. And
Mhm.
then we realized that it's not just boys, so many girls are coming. So that's the first step, towards that.
Mhm.
Secondly, of course, we need to make small, everybody, little. I mean, this is a big movement, but it needs to grow. We need to have people like you and me, talking and telling, reaching out, with our message in those areas, that a woman is more important. If you educate one girl, she will
Yeah.
educate an entire family. That's what they say. Now,
Yeah.
this message has to reach people. Now, how will it reach people? Today, you and me are sitting on this platform. It will be telecast, on so many different platforms, so it will reach people.
Mhm.
But I feel when something like that is being telecast, for example, I mean, and it's in my house, I will feel that if I have 4, 5 men and women, who are working in my house, the working class, I want to make them sit next to me and see this program and see what I am talking, what you are talking. We're talking about the girl child. So
Yes.
somewhere they carry this message back.
Yes.
It's not, I mean, just, I mean, enough that both of us cannot reach or many
Yes.
of us cannot reach everywhere. It's not
Mm.
possible. But through this kind of a channel, today with all these platforms, OTT platforms, all this internet and TV and everything, it's reaching out. TV is in everybody's house. Doordarshan is in everybody's house. OTT nahi hoga, Doordarshan hoga, and our government is doing a lot of things, on this of spreading the message, of educating the girl child. So
Mm.
this should happen. You and me should make an initiative and see. I have, let's say in my house, I have 10 people working in my house, and I ask them every day that
Yes.
their kids are getting educated, not just boys and not just girls, but even boys.
Mm.
Because, like I said, we need men to be educated. We need men to be empowered. An educated and empowered man is only going to understand the education and empowerment of a woman. So we
Yes.
need to educate them parallelly. So
Yes.
if each of us takes up this little responsibility, you are there in London, like you said, everywhere this problem is there. Probably it's less in London and more in India. So here we need, each of us needs to take up this responsibility कि मेरे घर में जितने लोग हैं, मेरे आजू बाजू में जितने लोग जिनके ऊपर मेरा इन्फ्लुएंस है,
Mm.
जिनको मैं इन्फ्लुएंस कर सकती हूँ, I must ensure that every child in that family is educated.
Yes.
And for no reason, the girl child stays back.
Yes.
And I myself, I pay the fees of so many children, girls, boys, everybody, irrespective. And I do.
Mm.
So I feel that, I cannot reach out everywhere. You
Yes.
cannot reach out everywhere. But if individually we can reach out and we take the responsibility, of even two families, of two kids, four kids, five kids, I think this is a movement, and this movement needs to grow. And again, I'm very positive, about everything. I rarely see anything negative around me. And
Yes.
if I see negative, I always try to make it positive.
Yes.
So, I see positively that these things are happening. It's not that they are not happening. Like I have now, if this has been a philosophy at Indira, social work, educating children, educating the girl child, it's been a philosophy at my group. So whenever I talk in speeches that with students and all, they all hear this. I have students, who have left Indira 10 years back, 15 years back, and they message me, ma'am, today I'm educating one child in my village. Ma'am, today I'm educating one child in my society. So now this is spreading, you see. The seed that was sown 10 years back in one student's mind, today he or she, they are now doing that. You see. So I mean, I feel very good even when I get one such message. I feel, yes, I have achieved, I'm achieving. It's a slow process. It's not a process that is going to, an overnight process.
Of
But
course.
it's happening, and all of us have to take the lead in this. We have to keep talking about it, because
Yes.
sometimes today's world is influencers world.
Yes.
So जितना आप और मैं बात करेंगे,
Mm.
that much people are going to listen. किसी
Yes.
के कान पे तो 10 people will hear, 2
Yes.
will at least implement. It's
Yes.
enough. You and you have achieved something. So it will
Yes.
spread the message.
Of course. I mean, change is inevitable. And as I said that I'm also involved with some of the, organizations. What wonderful initiative, as you very well said, that the more and more talk needs to take place and the actions as well. So there are like, organization, NGOs all across the globe. They come together, and they run the programs. And then there is one institute in Delhi recently. I had a interaction with them about certain students who are in Maharashtra. So as you said nicely, I also adopt 5 girl child after 12.
Oh, that's
I,
awesome.
I sponsor their whatever in manner I can sponsor their education. I'm not a mother biologically myself, but I'm a mother to many. That's what I feel.
That's
And
great.
that is
That's
very,
wonderful.
yeah. And as you nicely said that even if every one person takes a responsibility of one, not only girl child, but underprivileged child who needs that shaping up the future. I mean, in India, below poverty line people stay, but there are exceptional students where parents they struggle for one time meal, and perhaps a one underprivileged child's fee can be your one time shopping or your one time
Yeah.
for trip.
Absolutely.
It can change a person's life.
Yeah.
So people,
Yeah. Yeah.
you take an initiative, help as much as you can, adopt one person, if not entire year, their books, their hostel fees, and I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, that's very nicely said, ma'am. And I do understand that not only girl child, it's underprivileged children that we need to focus
I
on.
feel that because I feel a family is built together. It's not built
Yes.
You know, a woman, we say, you know, that one woman, one child is girl child is educated, she educates a family. But if she
Yeah.
has, when that girl becomes older and she marries an educated man, together they can build so many other families, you see. I mean,
Yes.
so I feel that this is a joint effort, you know, it's a joint venture between men and women, you know, we should take
Yes.
it very seriously.
Of course, of course. Wonderful, wonderful insight, ma'am. We have last two, three questions. I'm sorry, I'm taking much of your time, but it's very engrossing. Indira Care Club. It's a very interesting because when I was in my college or university, it used to be a huge, stress when we used to know that our dean is coming or our, principal is coming. But Indira Care Club is a very, very unique concept, ma'am, that one-to-one with the students directly with you. How did it come in the picture, and what sort of club is this? I mean, it's very interesting that I would like to know, like Indira Care Club.
I think it's just called Care Club. It's not called as Indira Care Club. It's Care Club, and
Yeah.
it's registered under the name only Care Club. And it's I a few years back. I mean, to be precise, in 2015, I had this idea. You know that it just you know, when you are a, you know, when people call you a visionary, or when you are thinking about the future, and when you're thinking about people all the time, and you know, it's like a eureka. You know, sometimes something just comes to you in the middle of the night, and
Yes.
this happens to me a lot. You know, that some things just, you know, and I just get up from sleep and a new idea has come. You know, and I have instances, you know, where I have picked up the phone and called my directors, my colleagues in the middle of the night, or I just jot down and I keep it. You know, and sometimes when I'm excited, I even speak in the night, like. So Care Club just came to me once, 6 years back, in the middle of the night,
Oh,
and we were just about 4 or 5 days away from our 5th September is our Foundation Day. That's
yes.
Teachers Day also, but it's Indira IGI Foundation Day too.
Yes.
So, and I said that I have to do something, because I had a lot of students who, you know, who used to call me up for something or the other, some problem or the other, something. And I realized, you know, that there are a lot of things that children, youngsters, they cannot share with their parents. They don't share with their parents. They
Mhm.
need somebody else to go and share with, you know. And it's not, and the idea of counselor or counseling
Mm.
is not so deep rooted in India even today. You know,
Yes.
in now we have in schools and all counselors and everything and all that, you know. But I somehow felt, you know, like, again, being a people's person, always being there for people, understanding people, it just came to me that night that I want to start something. This should be, you know, something I should start on my this, where my students can come to me one to one, and they can just open up to me about their problems, whatever it is, you know. And it just happened. And by morning, I had the name coined in my mind. And in the next 2 3 days, we just did it. We made the boards, everything, and we just launched Care Club. And
Oh,
now Care Club has gone to that level where I have. It's not just for Indira students. Everybody knows about Care Club. And so it's, I have alumni, I have present students, I have parents of students, I have friends, I have everybody who just call me up anytime in the middle of the night. And Care Club is completely free. So they
mm.
can just, is students and all can just register. For example, if we have Indira School of Business Studies, it's one of the colleges under Indira. So it's like such and such a days for Indira School of Business Studies. So then they register, their names are given, and then I take about 10 students on one day, because every student's story can go from 15 minutes to 40 45 minutes, I have seen, you know. And the kind of problems that the students have come to me, which they've not talked to their parents, and it's fantastic. I mean, right from drugs, you know, to breakups, to incest in the family, you know, all kinds of things have come to me. And I am so happy that, you know, 15 years back, 27 years back, Indira gave a purpose, you know, to life, to my life. You know, it was like a purpose. But 6 years back, when I started Care Club, that gave purpose to my very existence. And
Mm.
today, I mean, I, you know, I have like right from stopping suicides, you know, to helping somebody, you know, like recoup in their cancer, or to helping somebody, you know, coming out of their broken marriages, or for helping somebody to not break their marriages, or to helping somebody even select a girl or a boy for wedding, you know,
Mm.
or to helping somebody from having their parents from a breakup. You know, I mean, such kind of cases, to
Wow.
help somebody, you know, to you know, break away, you know, from drugs,
Mm.
and to uh, police cases. I mean, there are so many things that I, you know, I mean, I cannot openly talk about. I can talk about, but of course, no
Yeah,
names or anything.
of course.
Hundreds and thousands of cases in the last 6 years now. And I love it. I mean, it's really given me that I mean, my reason for my actual living is this now, to stand by people, to help them in their, moments, to help them think clearly, to be with them. And like I said, I very importantly tell everybody, I cannot help people financially. It's not possible. Wherever I can, I do. It's not that I do not, but everywhere I cannot. And but mentally, I am there. Physically, I have gone and sat in hospitals. I've sat with people. I've gone and said that they've okay, jhagde chhudwaye hai.
Mm.
So I love all this. So that's what Care Club is, and Care Club is right from school students. It starts from eighth onwards. Eighth, so it starts from 13 years onwards, and the kinds of stories I've heard, and kids who've come back, repeat Care Clubs, and kids who've done well and who have right from I've written diet plans for my students, and they've lost weight, and they've got their confidence back. I mean, so it's
Wow.
it's it's very satisfying, very very satisfying.
Ma'am, that's truly surprising. I mean, that's a whole a new world that you have spoken about. It's not only the education diva and that empire, but connecting with the students on personal level. Amazing. I wish I had that in my right time. So, but congratulations, ma'am. That's a wonderful initiative and a very unique one, ma'am. My
Thank
second last
you.
question to you. It's a personal now. You are a queen, as I always say. You are a diva,
Okay.
and who has this huge empire running all the time, day, night, and lots of thoughts, taking care of all her subject matters, be it students, be it institute, be it personal life, be it social work, so efficiently. I really need to, rather, I'm very curious to know, how do you manage your family time or a me time? I mean, do you take any me time for yourself? Is there any?
If you consider me time, what is me time? Me talking to you just now, that
No,
is also me
family
time.
time. Yeah, family time.
That's
Time
me
with your
time.
family, outing for your
Yeah,
hobbies and for your
yeah.
interests. Do you get time? And what do you
Yes,
do and
yes.
how do you manage?
For everything. I mean, that is why I feel, that when we talk about skilling, the
Yeah.
one of this topic of today's is skilling, the impact of skilling.
Yeah.
And one of the most important skills, though I was, somewhere I read, that time management is a very important skill.
Yes.
But somewhere I read yesterday, because I was going to talk to you, and so I was talking about skilling, what are the skill sets of today and everything, and is there something different from what I feel? And they say that time management has lost its slot. It used to be in the top five, but it has gone down from the top five slot.
Yeah.
Where I still feel that no, time management is the most important skill that all of us have to have. If, like you said, you want to enjoy your life, if you
Yes.
want to enjoy your me time, your family time, or every time that is your enjoyable time, you want to enjoy that, you have to manage your time. And from day one, I have managed my time very well. I'm very
Mm.
particular about time wherever I go, wherever I come. I'm very particular about people coming and going to me also. I have sometimes, had bad times with very close friends and everybody because they have not managed to keep their time. And I don't like that because it's only time that has helped me to
Yes.
achieve whatever I have achieved today and to enjoy life. Even
Yes.
today, I don't ever feel, oh God, I'm working, 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 and when am I doing the things I want to do? No, I enjoy time with my sons. I enjoy time with my family. I enjoy time with my time, my gym, my workout, my cooking,
Wow.
everything. And I think most of you know it as you follow me. You
Mm.
all know that there's not anything that I don't do. I do everything, and there's time, and yet there's time for everything.
Yes.
So how? It's only time management, and if you manage your time well, we all have 24 hours.
Mm.
None of us have got more. You or we don't have more. So how much you sleep, what you do is something that you got to decide. And
Mm.
you very important message to you youngsters and to everybody out, that to prioritize.
Mm.
Okay, in other words, to learn to say no.
Yes.
You do not have to attend every party that you're invited to. You
Yes.
do not have to be on the stage for every function that you are invited to.
Yes.
I mean, there are things that you love in your life. So you have to learn, if I want to give time to my sons and I want to spend time with my sons, so I have to cut down on two parties that I have to go outside with some friends of mine.
Wow.
Okay, if I have to read my book that I love to read and I want to read, if I want to watch all the movies that I want to watch, of which I have a list, then I have to see, that I am not going to every function that I'm invited to. I do not want to be a celebrity all the time. No, I want to do what I want to do, and that gives me my happiness. I want to be fresh for tomorrow. I want to be happy for tomorrow. I do not want to sleep at night thinking that today's day was wasted. I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. And oh God, it's so sad. I didn't have time. I don't want that. When I sleep at night, I want to feel that, wow, I've achieved more than that and I still have time. I still have half an hour. So what should I do? Should I read? Should I watch a movie, or should I just go to sleep and just loll in bed? Or, what should I do? I mean, that is the something. So prioritizing what you like, what you want to do is something very important. So I learned to say no a few years back, that no, I don't want to go here. No, I don't want to do this. This is what I want to do. So
Very
each one of us, we have our own priorities. You have to, give importance to those. You have to choose those, and you have to stand by those, and you have to work on those, and you have to adopt those in your life to make your life happy. Yours are different, mine are different. So what you like, I may not like, you
Mm,
see, and I may like also, but today I don't want to do it. I have another day for that. Today I want to do this. And you have
yeah.
to be very clear in your mind about that. That clarity of thought, of
Mhm.
giving your time to what, is something that if we all develop, life will become easier and life will become happy.
True. True. I mean, this is very important, ma'am. I mean, the very wonderful statement you made, like we all have 24 hours. None of us have more or none of us have less. But still, there are very few people who are successful who still crib. Some of them are like, oh, I don't get time. So time management, the secret of Tarita ma'am. If you can follow that, life will be a little bit easier. Perhaps you will enjoy all the aspects of your life. Now, though I don't want to finish the interview, ma'am, but we have come to our last question of this segment. Uh, Being a powerful woman, one of those very few, in India and in the world also, I call you that 1 percentile of the population in the world who have come here and who are born to change the world. You are one of them. So being in that position, if you have to give one message to all our millennium divas, I mean, women entrepreneurs and all those upcoming divas in the world, what would that be, ma'am?
Mm. It's so difficult, everybody asks this question in the end, that one message, and when you can never, it can never be summed up in one message or
Yeah.
something like that,
Yeah.
because you've been talking in the whole interview, there are hundreds of messages that you've given. Then again, in the end, there has to be that one message, which is important. So the message is, from what angle everybody wants that message is different. I am going to give it to you from my angle. What was helpful to my life? What
Mm,
was the message that I kept giving myself? And that is which helped me and helps me and will keep helping me. It's the same message I want to give to all of you out there. Very simple message, that uh, life is just once. It is only one life that you get, so you must live it to your fullest,
yes.
whether there is a up, whether there is a down, whether there is good, whether there is bad. I personally feel there is nothing good and there is nothing bad. It is just an experience of life. So take it that way. And the maximum experiences that one has in life, whether it's a man or a woman, that much richer the person is. It's not money that makes you rich. It is the experiences in life that you get that make you rich. And to
Mm,
get those experiences in life, don't sit shackled in one place. Go, take the world by its horns. Just go and enter wherever you can and get those experiences. Because when you die, and when you die, nobody is going to know. At that time, it's not going to be your money that's going to bring a smile on your face. It's that you've lived a full life the way you want it, is that what is going to become, bring a smile on your face, which is going to let you die peacefully. But when you live the life the way you want, there's a beautiful song by Frank Sinatra, My Way. Please listen to it.
mhm.
Whenever you say you live life the way you want, doesn't mean that you do not care for others. The
Yeah.
best life is lived the way you want, by caring for others. So please keep these things in mind, living your life your way, at the same time caring for others. If you can get this balance in life, well, you've lived your life. So go live your life fullest, go out there. Nothing is taboo. Don't think that this is taboo, that is taboo. Nothing is taboo. Whatever you do is your life. It's your belief. It's your love. Live it. Just live your life the way you want. Live it fully. Live it for others, and make it beautiful.
Well, that is Dr. Tarita Shankar, ma'am. What a persona, what a power-packed life, and really, really inspiring, ma'am. So,
Thank you.
my viewers, this is Tarita, ma'am. A leader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Compassion is an expression of strength. You are so confident that you can allow the sorrows of other people to touch you. These are some famous quotes which Tarita ma'am believes in, breathe, and live in. What an amazing and inspiring journey, ma'am. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation and was especially pleased to learn more about how you have been so successful in managing so many challenging roles as a visionary educationist, chairperson, founder, trustee, mentor, philanthropist, doting mother, and above all, a very compassionate role model to many like me. On behalf of Millennium Divas, ma'am, I truly, truly thank you from bottom of my heart for speaking your heart. And we are very, very grateful for the time and effort you took to share your thoughts and experiences with Millennium Divas shows. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Entirely my pleasure. Thank you so much. And thank you. And all the best to Millennium Divas and to you.